Hey folks, Aaron here. Welcome back to No Anime Review. Today we're looking at episode 11 of the Junji Ito Collection. Now, let's have a small applause for the fact that this week's episode wasn't disgusting. Just clap a little bit. Thank God. I was hoping to God that we would never get another episode like that, and thankfully, we hopefully won't. I pray to God we don't get another episode like that. Anyways, this week's episode, the first one, the first story, was very interesting. It was actually one of the more interesting stories that we've seen from the show so far, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. And it had an ending that I was okay with for once. The second story, it had a great premise. Like, it could have been so well done, and it just feels so haphazardly ended. Like, it's like, why did you end it that way? Let's talk about the first story, though. So, our first story revolves around a transfer student who has come to this school, and all of a sudden, you know, he's really kind of odd, but you know the two kids that we see are our two main protagonists, at least initially, are happy to have him because as weird as he is, they think he fits perfectly for their club, which is a supernatural club, and they're like, you know, he might be a weirdo, but we can, you know, get him into our club, and he might like that type of thing. And lo and behold, the kid is all about supernatural stuff. He loves supernatural, anything that's like it, and things start happening. Which, I mean, it shouldn't be too, I want to say, surprising that the stuff that happens is revolving around him. I keep saying resolving for some reason. I've been doing that for like every single review take I've been having, so apologize for that, folks. But I don't know, for like my mind won't like take the two and change it for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, besides that though, you know, it was interesting because the supernatural club, the members for the most part, at least two of them, have abilities. One can see the spirits of the dead, which I thought was kind of questionable at first, but he legit can. And the other one has the ability to bend spoons, which is like, yay, you could bend spoons, cool. You know, which is, as the one kid showed, like, it kind of seems like a parlor trick more than anything else. But, you know, one day when he's going through town, though, he sees this, you know, waterfall that all of a sudden apparently just magically appeared because there was never a waterfall in town. And tells the kid, oh, you know, you go there, you get some supernatural powers, and like they shoots off a laser. Like, this transfer student goes from being weird already, then all of a sudden having the ability to shoot lasers. But okay. And it just gets weirder from there because the guy disappears, ends up dying. We find out later on, comes back as a corpse, and we find out the guy who sees spirit was the one pushed him into the waterfall in the first place, and gained power from it. And we also learn, obviously, what a surprise, that the transfer student was the one who was making all these weird things happen, where he was making lakes appear out of nowhere, and you know, Stonehenge appear out of just thin air. But what was kind of cool about it was an interesting story. I kind of enjoyed it. And the thing was it actually ended on a note that I was like, oh, so he left and he's still out there going to other schools and doing that. And the one guy who wanted to like join forces with him decided to follow him, even though the guy didn't want him to do that. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. That was actually a good ending. I applaud that episode, that part of the episode. The second story, however, had a great premise of this one guy just recently lost his daughter, and you know, for another dude, it's actually his fiance or wannabe fiance because they couldn't get married thanks to the father. But he decides that he can't like let his daughter go. So what he does is he makes a scarecrow of her, and you know, puts like a wig on it. You know, he puts her on one of the dresses and goes, "This is my daughter," and it'll represent there at the grave. And for some reason, everyone in town's like, oh, "That's such a great idea. Let's do that for our dead children and parents and all that." I'm like, why would you ever want to have scarecrows representing your? I'm not okay, whatever. But ironically enough, though, well, maybe it's not really ironic, but these scarecrows do something very interesting, where they start not just representing the people that died, but more so start actually having features that were not there before when the guy made them. For example, you know, like the girl's name, I think her name was Yuki. She starts like having these things where she looks like she's moving slightly, and she looks like her eyes are like looking at things. And even the one fiance ended up like falling in the thing at one point because they all were moving, and she kept moving to different spots, which was very strange. I think the most comical part of this whole thing, though, was when the one dude who had to bury his son, you know, got tired of looking at the scarecrow because he felt like his eyes were now staring at him, making this weird face, and he pulled the stake out and it, like, jumped up in the air and stabbed him in the chest, killing him. And the mother's like, "You killed him. Like your husband just died in front of you. You're more so saying that the scarecrow died, but your husband died." Okay, you know, that's kind of a typical thing for Junji Ito to make the characters kind of I want to say oddballs, to say the least. But the abrupt ending of it came in the form of the fiance ended up dying in the thing, and he had the scarecrow of his fiance on him, like will look like making out with them, and the father was like, I can't leave you there. It's fine. You can stay there. Go for it. You enjoy being there. You know, it's like that's how it ended. I'm like, what? It's like Junji Ito, you had the chance to be a great episode this week, and you came out to be okay. Like, I mean, it wasn't the worst episode. It was definitely good. I liked the first story, even though it was kind of comical at some parts, and the second story had an interesting premise, just kind of fell through with it. But what do you guys think about this week's episode of Junji Ito Collection? I would love to hear from you, as always, in the comments below. If you like my reviews, think about hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, sharing the video around, and, you know, check out my Patreon for various rewards and stuff like that. I will talk to you guys tomorrow with the slew of anime that comes out on Saturday. See you guys then. God bless you all. Bye-bye.